what you think people's perceptions are of how they're being protected in these soft target, high populated type events, sports events, concert events. I mean, again, we're at SHOT Show,
Right.
that kind of thing. I mean, there's thousands and thousands of people here. What do you think, the basic citizen thinks about all that?
I think the basic citizen honestly probably doesn't think about it too much.
Okay.
I think that they are just under this spell, this guise of everything's okay. Kind of like, the Matrix, like everything is fine until you actually realize like what's going on behind the scenes. Like, being in law enforcement or not even law enforcement. Like before law enforcement, I used to be a food runner for a high-end restaurant here in town. And I had no idea about anything about the food industry until I stepped behind the curtain and saw what was going on inside the kitchen. I was like, this is fucking disgusting.
Wild back there.
Yeah.
Right?
And I was like, oh my God.
I did the same.
And so the same thing for, but you're sitting in the restaurant, everything is, oh, honey, look how great this is. This is great. The food's so
delicious.
Great. Yeah. Did you try these fries? But yeah, so did I before I brought your fucking food out. Okay. So when I was waiting for your food, I was eating off your plate, your French fries. So I'm fucking starving. I hadn't had lunch in 5 hours.
Never eating out again.
So yeah. And, but so people, when ignorance is bliss type thing to where they don't know what's going on. So they really think that everything is fine. But then there are some people who probably do think like, hey, I need to protect myself type thing for these events. And, but for the overall general public, I don't think they really think about it until something happens.
So this validates my point.
Yeah. Like until it happens. And then when it happens, like, where were you? How come you didn't stop this from happening? You should have done this. And we're like, well, yeah, we could have, would have, should have. Everything is, unfortunately, for mass events like that, everything is unfortunately reactive
right.
in law enforcement, especially with training. For example, 1 October was, a lot of agencies. Active shooter has been a term, or active assailant has been a term since Columbine. Yeah, that is the birth of the active shooter event, to where patrol's not going to wait for SWAT anymore. Patrol or any armed person, security, whatnot, is going to go in and stop the threat prior to SWAT arriving. So that kind of started this whole, active shooter type mentality, to where I completely lost my train of thought.
No, no, I'm with you. I'm staying with you here. So let me pick it back up.
Yeah.
So I think where we're going is you got this citizen who doesn't understand that we learn things in real time, right? Or after.
That's what I was going.
Yeah,
yes.
Okay.
So so law enforcement agencies have been training active shooter for years, and departments have gotten really, really, really good at it. Like, especially here in Nevada and Las Vegas area.
Is that right?
These cops out here, they are fucking studs when it comes to active shooter response. Like, they will throw on the vest and they will go in. There's going to be no cops out here standing by a patrol car waiting for other.
Uvalde.
Yeah, exactly. They are going to go in, and I know that firsthand based off of helping train these academies, in-service stuff with numerous departments, being a part of joint agency trainings where we see these guys and these girls, they go in the training situations.
Yep.
But I have all the faith in the world that law enforcement out here is going to do their job for that. So we do a really, really good job for that. And then some guy's an active shooter from 30 floors up. And you're like, ooh, I never trained for that. How the hell do we deal with this? So now training for reactive training for it is adjusted, to where it's like, okay, well, how do we deal with a high-angled shooter? So now SWAT teams are dealing with that more. You're getting more of an aerial platform of shooting from a helicopter type thing for SWAT teams and stuff. Out here in Las Vegas, unfortunately, we have mountains, so we can train that. Put steel targets up in mountains that that we can hit and think
at distance,
at distance and whatnot, and shooting down from mountains in case you're up and you need to shoot down. So lots of good training has come from that, but unfortunately, it's too little, too late until something else happens that hasn't been tested. To like, okay, well, what do you do if X, Y, and Z happens? You're like, well, you stick to the core principles of active shooters. You stop the threat, however that may be, whether on the 3rd floor, 30th floor, 50th floor, on top of the mountain, shooting repellers, whatever it may be. Get to the threat and stop the threat. So, but that's reactive training now, because we didn't train for that before, the 1 October thing.
Yeah. So it's like TSA 15 or it was 18, something like that years ago. Maybe it's a little bit longer now. Because now I'm blown away because I said 3 years, and that sounds ridiculous, but because I would have been in the middle of that thing that went on. There weren't any concerts anyway 8 years ago. Whatever it was 18, 20 years ago, some dude tried to light his shoes on fire in an airplane.
Yes, I remember that.
And now the whole world has to take their fucking shoes off.
Yep.
Going through the security checkpoint for that reason. That was the thing. That was this is how we stop that threat. And then, you walk through metal detectors and whatever else and the illusion that exists there based on that one incident, that one thing.
It's a lot of times there's a lot of knee-jerk reactions to events to where, oh my God, we had to do something. And you necessarily can't blame some of those people because they're probably getting the words from higher ups as well of getting the pressure from, city officials or something like that. And so to identify the problem and fix it. So what is the problem? Well, we didn't check his shoes. Okay, fix it. So, well, I guess we have everyone take their shoes off now. Like, thanks a lot. You know? But, so that's what it is. And it's weird you talk about TSA because obviously with Raw Tactics, I travel a lot and being through numerous airports. It's weird how TSA is this one agency, but every airport has different standards. Like here, you have to do one thing. You got to strip butt naked here. But then if I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina, there's like, oh, just come on through. You're fine. You don't have to take off your belt, your shoes. You want me to take my laptop out of my bag? No, leave it in the bag. Like, well, I just came from somewhere that told me to take it out of my bag, and you treated me like a terrorist because I left it in my bag. So now you want me to leave it in the bag? Are you sure? And they're like, yes. I'm like, okay.
So that's another reality that I think people can relate to when we're talking about the civilian side of this thing. Like they've been through that. So they understand there are inconsistencies everywhere. And to them, they're mildly inconvenienced and maybe a little bit emotionally butthurt by this thing. But the larger perspective is those inconsistencies, at what depths do they go and how broad is that? And shall we not even get started on checking a firearm at the counter when you go to get I was got arrested about 6 months ago. And I lost my mind. Like, I can't, you're a fucking retard. I can't deal with you anymore. Like, whatever we got to do to get on this airplane. And I didn't. I missed my flight as a result. Anyways, so we should get started.
Yeah, I have to, just for what my...
let's go. All right, let's go. We're doing it.
Just a quick, like...
We're going.
I was here. I was flying to Charlotte, North Carolina for a training class. And I was checking, it was on-duty type training stuff. So I had my gun belt, everything. Everything was packed away exactly what it was supposed to be. I tell the agent at the ticketing, hey, I have a firearm in my backpack, or excuse me, in my suitcase. It's locked away, everything.
It's unloaded.
It's unloaded, everything. And they're like, you have a gun? And I say, yeah, it's in my suitcase. Like, you have a gun? And I say, in my suitcase, locked away. Terry, he has a gun. I'm not doing. I just literally stepped back and said, I said, it's in my suitcase. It's in my suitcase. I put my hands up and everything. And then they're like, okay, settle down, blah, blah. You fill out this form. And I was like, oh my God, like I was sweating. I was
panic attack.
I was like, Jesus Christ, like this lady almost got me killed, from Metro cops coming all around. I'm like, oh my God. But so that was just the quick story on that.
I mean,
oh my God.
I think it paints a very real picture because I could go through 5 of similar stories, right? And I know 50 guys that have 10 stories apiece or more themselves. They're traveling every weekend with stuff. And the point of this being is that there's this illusion that we have these agencies or we have these entities, and whether that's your municipal police department or a federal agency like the TSA, that are there to protect you, right? And that there's this highly trained, highly skilled, highly technological, advanced, system of things that keeps us from this danger. And the reality of it is that is not the case. And some places, just like anything, you're going to do it way better than others, right? And so, again, just looking at it from like the civilian's perspective, I agree with you 100%.